Sagittarius, last call to escape the karmic trap. The sign you must recognize. Sagittarius, this is no longer a warning. This is the last call. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. If you are hearing these words, something far bigger than coincidence has already been set in motion because the universe does not interrupt your timeline without reason. This is the moment where karmic doors either open or seal themselves shut for another full cycle. And once that door closes, it does not reopen for 12 long years. Let that land in your body before your mind tries to argue with it. Sagittarius. You've always believed you could outrun fate, outgrow patterns, rise above pain simply by moving forward. But karma doesn't chase you from behind. It waits, patient, silent, and right now, that silence is breaking. This is not about fear. This is about recognition. The ancient teachings remind us that ignorance is not innocence, it is the mechanism of bondage. And tonight, the mechanism is exposed. If you leave this video now, nothing dramatic will happen immediately. That's how karmic traps work. No alarms, no explosions, just repetition. The same emotional weight, the same faces wearing different names, the same exhaustion disguised as strength. And 12 years from now, you will look back at this exact moment and realize this was the exit you didn't take. This is why your presence here matters more than you think. You are not watching this by accident. The universe does not whisper to everyone it selects. And Sagittarius, you are being selected because your soul is standing at the edge of a loop that has run its course. Buddhism teaches that liberation begins not with action, but with awareness. The instant you see the trap, it loses its absolute power over you, but only if you act while the window is open. Escape does not mean running away. That is ego. Escape means stepping out of a pattern you were conditioned to call normal. It means recognizing where compassion turned into self-erasure, where loyalty became self-betrayal, where endurance turned into spiritual debt. You've been strong for so long that you forgot strength was never meant to be permanent suffering. The universe is correcting that imbalance now. There are only 48 to 72 hours of active energetic alignment surrounding this message. After that, the signal fades. The mind will rationalize. The body will normalize discomfort again, and the trap will feel familiar enough to stay. This is why your intuition feels restless, your sleep feels shallow, and your attention was pulled here without explanation. That is not anxiety. That is soul memory waking up. The sign you must recognize is not dramatic. It's subtle, almost disappointing. That's why most miss it. It shows up as a quiet knowing you keep ignoring. A moment where your chest tightens for no logical reason. A realization you silence because it would require change. This small signal is not small at all. It is the hinge point of your destiny. Ancient prophecies speak of the moment when the archer must lower the bow, not to surrender, but to see clearly. You cannot aim a future while still defending the past. Sagittarius. This is the moment your soul stops negotiating. The universe is not asking you to fight harder. It is asking you to stop volunteering for pain disguised as purpose. If you feel a strange pull to keep listening, that is alignment. If your heart is beating slightly faster, that is recognition. And if a part of you feels exposed, seen, or strangely calm, then you already know this message is meant for you. Do not scroll. Do not minimize this. Presence is protection right now. As you listen, allow yourself to receive instead of analyze. Wealth, safety, and future stability are not created by effort alone. They are guarded by timing. And this is a timing message. When you honor it, you protect not just your emotional future, but your financial and spiritual path as well. That is why staying matters. That is why engagement matters. Energy follows attention. If this message resonates even slightly, anchor it. Like the video to align your frequency with clarity. Subscribe to protect your timeline from repeating cycles. Share this with another Sagittarius whose soul is tired of carrying what isn't theirs. And if you feel called, leave a comment, because every comment is a signal, not just to the algorithm, but to the universe itself, declaring that you are awake, present, and ready. Sagittarius, if you are truly who you think you are, you will understand what comes next. The next part is not information. It is activation. Sagittarius, now that you've crossed the threshold, the universe is no longer whispering. It is showing you the pattern. And this is where most people turn away, not because they don't feel it, but because they recognize themselves too clearly. The karmic trap you are standing in was not built through cruelty or chaos. It was built through strength, through endurance, through the belief that you can handle more than others, that you can carry what others drop, that if you just stay aware, patient, and loving enough, things will eventually resolve themselves. That belief is exactly where the trap tightens. Astrologically, Sagittarius is ruled by expansion, faith, and meaning. You were born to move forward, to believe there is always a higher reason, a bigger picture. But when Pluto and Saturn work quietly in your field, they do not bring dramatic destruction. They bring repetition, subtle pressure, the same lesson wearing a new face, the same emotional weight reintroduced just when you think you've outgrown it. This is not punishment. This is conditioning. And conditioning is far more dangerous than pain because it feels normal. You tell yourself you're strong enough. You tell yourself this situation isn't as heavy as before. You tell yourself you've learned, evolved, matured. And yet your body tells a different story. The exhaustion that doesn't disappear after rest. The tension you carry even in moments of peace. The strange sense of being on hold while life moves forward for everyone else. This is not random fatigue. This is karmic drag. The trap Sagittarius falls into most often is the savior role. You don't call it that. You call it understanding. You call it patience. You call it compassion. You see the potential in people long before they act on it. You make space for their wounds. You justify their delays. You absorb their confusion. And over time, you mistake carrying their weight for spiritual maturity. But Buddhism warns us clearly, compassion without wisdom becomes attachment, and attachment is bondage. When kindness is no longer free, it becomes a chain. Notice the pattern. You are tired, but you keep going. You are aware, but you don't leave. You know something is off, but you wait for clarity that never fully arrives. You are not blind. You are over-responsible. You believe that staying conscious is the same as being safe. But consciousness without action does not dissolve karma. It stabilizes it. Karma rarely arrives as catastrophe. It arrives as familiarity, as people who feel unfinished, as conversations that never quite resolve, as emotional contracts that quietly renew themselves without your consent. The universe does not trap you with events. It traps you through relationships, through dynamics that keep you invested just enough to stay, but never enough to be free. And here is the warning. You must hear clearly: waiting for someone else to change is not neutral. It is an energetic agreement. Every moment you stay in expectation, you reinforce the loop. Saturn rewards responsibility, but it punishes self-abandonment. Pluto transforms only what you are willing to release. If you delay, the lesson does not disappear. It deepens. It becomes more complex. It ties itself into other areas of your life, your finances, your confidence, your sense of direction. This is why some Sagittarius experience sudden stagnation after years of growth. Why opportunities seem to circle but not land. Why money flows in but drains out. Why motivation flickers instead of burns. These are not failures. These are signals. The universe does not cut you off. It slows you down when you are carrying energy that no longer belongs to you. The most dangerous part of this karmic trap is that it flatters you. It tells you that you are needed, that without you things might fall apart, that leaving would be selfish or premature. But listen carefully. Karma does not care how noble the cage feels. If you stay past the moment of recognition, the door does not stay open out of mercy. It closes out of necessity. Ancient teachings say that when a soul sees the pattern and still refuses to move, the pattern hardens. What could have been a gentle release becomes a fixed cycle. And for Sagittarius, that cycle spans 12 years. 12 years of repeating emotional themes. 12 years of relearning the same lesson through different people, places, and promises. 12 years of asking, why does this keep happening to me, when the answer was offered once quietly at the beginning. This is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to wake you up. Fear paralyzes, recognition liberates. And right now, you are being given the rare chance to name the trap while you are still inside it, with awareness intact and choice available. If this feels uncomfortably accurate, do not push it away. That discomfort is the signal that the loop has reached its end point. Engage with it. Anchor yourself. Like the video to align your energy with clarity. Subscribe to this channel to protect your future timeline from unconscious repetition. Share this message with another Sagittarius who has been strong for too long. And if your intuition is urging you, leave a comment, because every conscious action taken at this moment strengthens your exit path. Sagittarius, the trap only works if you pretend it isn't there. And now that you see it, the universe is watching what you choose next. Sagittarius, now we arrive at the moment where the mind grows quiet and the soul begins to speak. This is the point in the journey where everything becomes unmistakably personal, because the sign you must recognize does not announce itself with drama or noise. It arrives softly, heavily, like a familiar weight you have learned to live with, even though it no longer belongs to you. This is why so many miss it. They are waiting for something louder, clearer, undeniable. But destiny does not shout when it is already inside you. The sign is not chaos. It is stillness that lasts too long. Silence that stretches beyond comfort. Conversations that pause without closure. Messages unsent. Answers that never arrive yet somehow keep you emotionally tethered. There is no clear ending, but there is no true beginning either. And that is what makes it dangerous. The soul cannot rest in unresolved space. It either transforms or becomes trapped. You may tell yourself nothing is wrong. After all, no one did anything terrible. No lines were crossed. No promises were broken in obvious ways. And yet, your energy feels off. Your enthusiasm dims when this connection comes to mind. Your breath shortens. Your body reacts before your thoughts can organize themselves. This is not imagination. The body recognizes misalignment long before the intellect is willing to name it. Pay attention to your dreams, Sagittarius. Not the dramatic ones, but the repetitive ones. The same faces returning. the same locations resurfacing, the same emotional tone echoing through different scenes. Dreams are the language of the subconscious, and repetition is how the soul insists on being heard. When lessons are not integrated while awake, they replay in sleep. This is not coincidence. This is communication. Notice how your body responds when you think about them. A tightness in the chest, a heaviness in the stomach, a subtle fatigue that appears out of nowhere. The nervous system does not lie. It does not negotiate. It responds to truth instantly. And if your body is bracing while your mind is still explaining, that is the sign you are being asked to recognize. Here is the hardest part to accept. The person tied to this karmic sign may not be wrong in any obvious way. They may be kind. They may be wounded. They may even love you in the only way they know how. But energy does not measure intention. It measures alignment. Something can be gentle and still be wrong for your path. Something can feel familiar and still block your expansion. Ancient wisdom teaches that attachment does not always come from desire. Sometimes it comes from identification, from seeing yourself as the one who understands, the one who stays, the one who does not abandon. Over time, identity becomes obligation. Obligation becomes attachment, and attachment becomes the invisible chain that binds the soul willingly. Nostradamus spoke of this long ago, the unseen chain that holds not through force, but through consent. A bond strengthened by silence rather than conflict. A prison with no walls, only emotional gravity. This is the kind of karmic tie that feels hardest to break, because nothing appears broken on the surface. But Sagittarius freedom is not defined by appearances. It is defined by inner truth. Here is the warning hidden inside the recognition. Seeing the sign is not the same as acting on it. Awareness opens the door, but choice determines whether you walk through. Many souls recognize their trap and still remain. Hoping clarity will deepen, hoping circumstances will shift, hoping time will resolve what only courage can. But karma does not dissolve through waiting. It solidifies. If you recognize the sign and ignore it, the universe does not punish you immediately. It simply removes urgency. The feeling dulls. The discomfort normalizes. The loop tightens quietly. And one day, years from now, you will realize you are still having the same conversations, carrying the same emotional weight, asking the same questions, only with more history behind them. This is why recognition matters now, not later. Now. The window you are in is rare. The universe has slowed time just enough for you to see clearly without panic. This is grace. But grace requires response. Let me say this plainly. Sagittarius, you do not need proof. Proof is the language of the mind. The soul speaks through resonance. If something in you softened or tightened as these words reached you, that is knowing. If you felt exposed but calm, that is truth. If a name or face surfaced without effort, that is confirmation. You do not need to justify it. You need to honor it. As you listen, allow yourself to receive this message as protection, not loss. Releasing what is misaligned does not diminish your future. It safeguards it. Your wealth, your vitality, your sense of direction. All depend on the energy you choose to carry forward. When you let go at the right moment, momentum returns. Opportunities align. The path clears. This is why engagement matters right now. Conscious action anchors awareness into reality. Like the video to affirm clarity. Subscribe to this channel to stay protected as the next phase unfolds. Share this message with another Sagittarius who may still be questioning their intuition. And if your heart is nudging you, leave a comment, because each comment is a declaration, not just to the algorithm, but to the universe itself, that you are awake and willing to choose differently. Sagittarius, you do not need evidence. Your soul already knows. And once you honor that knowing, the chain loses its power. Sagittarius, now that you have seen the sign, the universe does not ask you to fight, explain, or justify. It asks you to exit cleanly. This is the escape path that protects your future, your karma, and your energy all at once. Not through anger, not through confrontation, but through clarity so calm it feels almost invisible. This is how you leave without creating another loop behind you. The first truth you must anchor is this: cutting through rage binds you to the very thing you are trying to escape. Anger keeps the cord alive. Reaction feeds the memory. The universe does not reward dramatic exits. It rewards conscious release. When you leave with heat in your chest, the lesson follows you. When you leave with stillness, the lesson dissolves. This is not weakness. This is mastery. Buddhist wisdom teaches that true letting go is not rejection. It is return. You are not throwing anything away. You are returning karma to its rightful owner. Every soul carries its own lessons. When you carry someone else's burden out of compassion, it feels noble, but it disrupts balance. Buông is not abandonment. Buông is restoring order. You are stepping out of a role you were never meant to play forever. This is why long explanations are dangerous. Explanation feels kind, but energetically it is attachment disguised as clarity. Every sentence meant to make them understand pulls you back into the loop. Every justification delays your release. Silence, when chosen consciously, is not avoidance. It is alignment. The universe hears silence more clearly than words when the decision has already been made. Sagittarius, understand this deeply. The most powerful action you can take right now is restraint. Not responding, not fixing, not smoothing over discomfort. When you stop engaging, the karmic mechanism loses fuel. What once felt heavy begins to collapse under its own weight. This is not cruelty. This is physics at the level of the soul. Do not wait for another sign. Waiting implies doubt. Doubt reopens the door you just closed. The sign already arrived quietly and precisely because you were ready to see it. Seeking more confirmation is how the mind tries to regain control. Trust that the universe does not test you twice on the same lesson unless you ignored it the first time. Here is the reframe that will free you. Escaping the trap is not loss. It is recovery. You are not losing a connection. You are retrieving your energy. You are not abandoning love. You are withdrawing investment from a dynamic that no longer compounds. The moment you step back, vitality returns. Sleep deepens. Focus sharpens. Opportunities begin to move again. This is how you know the release was correct. Say this internally, not as a mantra, but as a fact. You do not owe anyone the role of savior. You do not owe anyone endless understanding. You do not owe anyone your future simply because you once offered your presence. Karma is not healed through sacrifice alone. It is healed through alignment with truth. Astrologically, this is the moment Sagittarius reclaims forward momentum. When you stop carrying what isn't yours, Jupiter's expansive force can finally work unobstructed. Growth accelerates. Luck reactivates. Paths that felt stalled suddenly open without effort. This is why the shift feels fast after a clean exit. Energy moves when it is no longer weighed down. You may notice resistance from the outside, confusion, silence, or sudden attempts to re-engage. This is normal. Karma tests the firmness of your boundary once before releasing it entirely. Do not argue with the test. Pass it by, remaining still. When nothing hooks into you, the pattern dissolves permanently. Remember, Sagittarius? Destiny does not require struggle. It requires precision. The cleaner the release, the smoother the transition. You are not closing your heart. You are refining it. You are choosing a future that does not demand constant endurance to prove its worth. As you integrate this, anchor it in action. Conscious choices strengthen timelines, like the video to align your energy with clarity and flow. Subscribe to this channel to stay protected as your next chapter unfolds. Share this message with another Sagittarius who is ready to exit without burning bridges. And if you feel the pull, leave a comment, not as a plea, but as a declaration that you are choosing peace over patterns. Sagittarius. Once you step out this way, the universe responds quickly. Doors open, weight lifts, momentum returns. This is not the end of something. This is the beginning you were being preserved for. Sagittarius. If you are still here, you are not lingering by accident. You stayed because something inside you recognized the truth before the mind could interrupt. This is the moment where awareness becomes commitment, where insight becomes movement, where the universe waits to see if you will seal the door behind you or leave it ajar for the past to return. Stay with me. This is where the timeline locks. Take a slow breath in right now, not rushed, not forced. Let it fill your chest fully, and then exhale gently as if you are releasing weight you've been carrying longer than you remember. As you breathe out, allow your mind to return to the moment you were most tired, not physically, but spiritually. The moment you realized you were strong, yet drained, present, yet unseen, capable, yet carrying too much. That memory is not here to hurt you. It is here to mark the end. Sagittarius. The universe responds to clarity faster than struggle. When a soul reaches this level of recognition, timing accelerates, paths shift, energy realigns, but only if the choice is declared. Silence without intention fades. Conscious declaration anchors reality. That is why this moment matters more than any explanation you could give to anyone else. Say this internally, now slowly, with breath behind it, not as hope, but as decision. I choose freedom of the soul. Let the words land in your body. Notice the sensation that follows, that softening, that calm, that slight lift. This is alignment. This is what it feels like when you step out of a karmic loop without creating another one. Here is the truth many never hear: the universe tracks intention through action. Not grand gestures, but small conscious signals. When you comment, when you engage, when you anchor awareness into form, you are not just interacting with a platform. You are declaring readiness. Each comment becomes a marker in your energetic timeline, a signal that says, I saw the pattern and I chose differently. If this message has reached you, do not let it remain incomplete. Comment, now I choose to escape the karmic trap. Not for validation, not for anyone else to see, but because words, when chosen consciously, have power. Each comment sends a signal not only to the algorithm, but to the universe itself that you are done repeating what you were never meant to carry. And understand this: when one Sagittarius steps out, the signal strengthens for others. Karma dissolves faster in groups. That is why sharing this video matters. There is another Sagittarius who feels this exhaustion, but hasn't named it yet. Your share could be the moment their awareness activates. When you help another soul see clearly, Abundance circulates back to you in ways you cannot predict, but will always recognize. Subscribe to this channel not out of habit, but as protection. These messages arrive in cycles not randomly. Staying connected keeps your awareness sharp as the next karmic window opens. The universe does not repeat warnings often. When it does, it expects response. Subscribing is not passive. It is a commitment to staying awake as your timeline evolves. You may feel a subtle urgency now, not panic, not fear, but clarity with momentum. That is because this window does not remain open indefinitely. Energy peaks, then moves on. If you close this video without anchoring what you felt, the mind will soften it. Rationalize it, delay it. That is how opportunities fade without ever appearing to leave. Let this be the moment you don't postpone yourself. Let this be the decision that does not require approval. Sagittarius, your destiny does not ask for permission. It asks for participation. The universe has already met you halfway. What happens next depends on whether you step forward or remain standing at the threshold. Like the video to align your energy with movement and clarity. Comment to lock your new timeline in place. Share to multiply protection and abundance. Subscribe to remain guided as the next phase unfolds. These are not empty actions. They are signals, and signals change trajectories. Sagittarius, missing this moment does not bring punishment. It brings repetition, and repetition is the most expensive price a soul can pay. You are here because you are ready to choose differently. This is the final call. Walk through it consciously, and the future you've been circling finally opens.